Okay.
All right. I'm recording again. This is
sweet.
this is the real podcast, but now I'm mad.
Oh,
Are we on?
This
We're
is
on.
not a
We're on
good
the air,
energy.
but now I'm mad.
We're on
This
the
is not
air.
a good energy to start with.
What is up, everybody? Coming to you live. Welcome to the Fun Zone, episode 11.
Is it live?
I think so.
Well, we're live.
Yeah, it's not live. It could be though.
Get a little more work.
What's up? Hey, Rob. Hey, Jerry.
What's up, Freeze?
Jerry Groff. Is that what you said your name is?
That's my name, and my that's my birth name.
No, that's not true. I
Okay.
don't know how. Okay, so I feel like on the internet, Jay started going by Jerry Groth, and also for every like image of Jay, it's just this weird kind of mishmash of emojis that he's created to like make his own persona. That he also like draws it a lot, and well, I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about what the emojis are that you used, or maybe it's just
I don't know what you're talking about.
okay.
You've revealed too much, Rob.
Are you talking about a different person?
Oh, I'm thinking about a different Jerry Groth because there's so many people with that name.
What's up? Are y'all both in your perspective or respective homes, whichever word it is?
Yeah. On Hillary, my wife is named Hillary. You know that. You've met her before.
Yeah.
Hillary's dad and I just put together this desk that I'm very proud of. It's because there's a guy down the street who was just throwing away this old Hammond organ.
And down the street makes it sound like, it was just right there. So
Okay.
just grab it.
It was several houses down.
It was so far down the street.
Okay,
You couldn't even see it from
Did you
Jay's
have to
house.
carry it the whole way?
And
we
Rob
carry it.
Rob did come over and help me carry the heavy organ.
Y'all couldn't
Yeah.
put it in a truck or anything?
That was the
No,
plan. Did not fit.
Oh,
Too
no.
tall.
Too tall for our
Wow.
for our cars. But we carried it back here
That's
and we
crazy.
handed it down and made a desk. So that's what I'm sitting on now.
Out of
a
an
real
organ?
professional. We took out the organ parts.
Guess what I did yesterday?
What?
I went on 8th to get an organ to bring
Really?
to my house. That my friend was like from Belmont, just like isn't coming back to Belmont. And they were just like, well, I got to clear out my storage unit. So if anybody wants an organ.
Wow.
Reese, that's awesome.
cool.
What is it? Do we talk
don't
about that
know.
on the show? Okay.
It's still in the minivan. So I just got it. I was just like, I just said yes. I haven't even looked at it yet. Like I held it and I was like, this looks pretty. And then it's too heavy to get out of my minivan. So right now it's just
It's just sitting in your car.
waiting in purgatory.
That's so cool. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
anytime we would go to pre-COVID, when we would go to thrift stores and like look around at kind of the instrument section, there's always like one very cool, very heavy organ that
Mhm.
there's never like a plug nearby to where you can like test it
Yeah.
out to see. So you're really just like taking up like a $100 chance on those. But every time me and Jay would like go see those at like, I don't know, different thrift stores in Nashville and stuff, we'd always be like, all right, next time we're going to get that organ. And we never did.
Yeah, I never
That
have
does seem
either.
Cool.
I'm kind of nervous about this one. I mean, I assume it works, but I don't, I really have no idea.
That
We'll
would
see.
fit so well with a lot of the new Freeze songs.
Yeah, thank
Good.
you.
The Nordista Freeze milieu encompasses a lot of organ ideas.
Yeah.
Hmm I do love organ. Actually, have you guys heard the newest Nordista Freeze song
Probably.
coming out in 2 weeks?
Then no.
Nordista
We're not in the
Freeze,
inner circle.
Nordista Freeze and the Boys. Our song is dropping in less than 2
Wait,
weeks.
it's already done?
Thank God.
Yeah, it's done.
Oh. Yeah, the world will be blessed. COVID's going to end.
I'm so excited for y'all to hear it. If I could figure out how to play it live on this chat, I would. I want y'all nothing more than for y'all to hear it. But
I'm gonna love it.
Because we're going to get lit on it.
well, I just think if anybody would like appreciate a Freeze and the Boys crossover, it's like y'all and like Z.
It's a match made in heaven.
Right. Yeah, and we're also, I feel like, two of the kind of like nerdy type of guys who will just have kind of the most visceral reaction to like whatever it is that you're showing, to be like, oh yeah, like,
Yeah, exactly.
Really, like, what
You'll
it
be like,
is,
oh,
but
hear that snare drum? Oh, yeah, I hope so.
We both have Instagram accounts that are basically just like And the Boys and Freeze stan accounts at this point. So
that is true. That is true. It's just kind of an And the Boys fan
Oh,
account.
right.
And the Boys fan club, Freeze fan.
Oh, wait, do y'all run And the Boys Russia?
No, that's a
No, but I
real Russian
wish.
person.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
real
yeah.
Russian.
I hope so. I'm pretty sure Nordista Freeze Brazil lives in Atlanta, as I'm trying to figure out. Okay, we have a lot to talk about because I want to talk about everything.
Okay.
No, I want to talk about just like meeting y'all and Real Sword, but I also want to talk about Flyco, and I have so many like questions about, I guess, before Flyco or before I even knew y'all. There's like
Yeah,
a whole. Y'all have lived so many lives. Y'all have done so many things, and I don't even know where to start. Like I just want. I have like endless amount of questions for y'all.
Man,
We're two.
ask 'em. 'Cause we also don't know where
I
to
can
start.
sum it up. We're two 28-year-old men that forgot to get bitter with age and instead just got super excited about everything.
That's it.
I think that is true, man.
Questions over.
And y'all moved to Jackson, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Well, we both got
Best city in the world. Greatest city in the world.
Well, yeah, sure, and we both got married to women that live in Jackson, Tennessee, and then we stayed here.
Really? So they both lived in Jackson,
At the time that we married them, yeah.
and y'all went to
Hillary's from
school there too. Oh,
Mhm.
really? Interesting.
Hillary grew up in Jackson.
Yeah, my wife is from Jackson, and actually lived pretty close to where we live now. Yeah, so I think it is kind of probably more strange for her to live here than it is for me. 'Cause
Yeah.
for me, it's just like, I don't know, it's another town, whatever.
For me, so my wife Carrie lived in Jackson when we met, and she's a few years older than me. So when I was in school, then she when I was in school, we were dating. She had graduated and was just like living in Jackson and working, and and that was when we like got together and started dating, and then we got married and stayed in Jackson. I guess we did. We had a couple of years back in Nashville when we were finishing the Flyco album, and we were touring with some other Nashville bands. And so we moved back kind of specifically for a couple of music things, and then those wrapped up and we moved back here to Jackson, which is where most of our like kind of family and friends are. And I mean, you've been here before, you've seen them.
I've been to Jackson. I've played
at my home. That's
at
right.
your house. I was gonna call it the Real Sword House. Well, I don't know which one is the Real Sword House.
They can both be.
Where do y'all film a lot of your like Real Sword stuff, or like go live and DJ? Is that in the room you're in, Rob?
Yeah, it's in. Yeah, well, when we do it in the same, when me and Jay are in the same place, then sometimes we do it over Zoom, but which is just how we're doing it now. But when we do it in the same place, then we both get together in my house
we use all that stuff.
Yeah, we play records and tapes and CDs. All
That's
these
cool.
ones right here. Yeah, it's great, man.
Oh, dude, I have something to show y'all.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, hold on a second. I can't hear you anymore. I have to show y'all something.
I'm excited to see what it is.
Say a secret that Freeze can't hear.
Okay. I one time decided that I was going to. I had a huge bruise. Oh, oh
Okay.
no!
A huge bruise.
Whoa. Yeah, I had a huge bruise. On the
I
bottom
lost
of
my
foot.
headphones. All right,
And
so
it
I
was,
can't
and
hear
it was like totally black, and
No,
I
I'll have to
only
talk.
it
I just
fell
inherited-
off like a couple of nights ago, and it was incredibly gross.
What are you saying?
Sorry,
Yeah,
that was so.
like in the
Sorry,
night.
Freeze. That was a bit that. So we're like just to go
Not
ahead
a
and
bit.
take you
Are you
inside
pranking
the
me?
bit.
No, it wasn't a bit.
Was that
Real life.
that was real?
Yeah, big bruise on the bottom of my foot. So yeah, pretty
And it
gross.
Are you
fell
serious?
off?
Yeah, sorry, Freeze. Keep going. What were you gonna show us?
Okay. I just inherited Barista Parlor's record collection.
Whoa! So you got like
I'm
all the
holding it
Led
right
Zeppelins
now.
because that's like all they play in there.
I think. Well, let's see. I've got ASAP Rocky, a bunch of Kendrick records, Kanye.
Oh, cool.
Like, oh my
Wait,
goodness.
hey,
Every
Freeze,
Kurt
how?
Vile album.
How did that happen?
He's got the
Because
connections.
Gentry Wigington just moved. He just started Living Waters Brewery.
Yeah.
He was the manager at Barista Parlor. So he would buy all the records just so he could listen to them. And then he left there and they just play an iPod at Living Waters. And he was like, well, I don't need these anymore. And I was like, you could keep them or like sell them. And he was like, no, I'm just getting rid of them. And so he just sent a list of every single record to like a few of us. And he gave me the ones that nobody else wanted. And it's just this like fat collection. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
That's great, Freeze.
Freeze, that's
Thank
huge.
you, man.
It really changes your I feel like I have especially in COVID, my gosh, but like have started listening to physical media a lot more. I mean, since setting up all this stuff, it's gotten me a lot more excited, especially because it's like in my eye line, you know, like I walk through the living room and I see it all and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to listen to this Strokes album that I haven't heard since 2008 or whatever, you know. And
you've been on a Strokes kick.
Kinda. This has actually been that was actually today. I listened to a Strokes record really for the first time in just so long.
Probably watched your Zoom call.
Oh, it felt really, really, really good.
Oh yeah.
And I just forgot that like that was like what me and Jay in high school were listening to when we were driving our dad's like old Acura. Yeah. And we were listening to the Strokes and going to like friends' houses and stuff.
Can we rewind just to put a pin in that for a second and talk about, it just reminded me is this a music show? Is that what we talk about on your show?
No, we talk about anything.
Because
it's just the fun zone.
I've seen people on your show and they talk about music a lot, but I didn't know if that was like a rule.
It's not a rule. We're just going anywhere. But the idea would be to have y'all on a bunch of times, so there's plenty of time to talk about everything.
Well, love that. No rules, just right. Peanut shells on the floor.
Yes, peanut shells on the floor, exactly. Oh wait, did you guys see whenever did the Strokes? They're the ones who played at the Bernie rally, right?
Yes.
Did you guys see whenever he was singing New York City Cops and then the New York City Cops showed up? I don't even know if that's the name of the song. He was like, New York City Cops, they're not too smart. And then there was like a cop like next to him pushing people off stage. Yeah. I could not believe that. I was just like,
it's poetic.
Oh, how do you create a moment that's like that perfect?
It's so good. It's just so good.
It's incredible.
Me and Jay had a great moment seeing the Strokes. And we were with a friend who I won't name, just so I don't want to blow up his whole thing, but that was the closest that I have ever been to an actual fight. I'm not me and Jay, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I've never been in an actual fight. Never been it, never seen it happen. But when we saw the Strokes in 2011, now you do. Or I don't know how far away from you I was by then. But when we went to see the Strokes in Atlanta in 2011 or something, it was 2013 because they just released Come Down Machine, and there was a guy in front of us who was huge, and he had like a shaved head and like a bunch of tats, and he was wearing like a sleeveless shirt, and he was just like a big muscle guy, and he was also really stinky. We were at a festival, so everybody was really stinky, and and he was getting pretty angry at some people in front of him, and he was trying to move around a lot. And it was actually during New York City Cops, which was their last song.
Wow.
And he was,
they've been doing that forever,
and he was, and he was like bumping around a bunch of people. And one of the people was one of the guys that we were with. It was Taylor. We can say his name. It was Taylor. And he bumped into him, and they like faced off and like looked at each other, and like they got their fists out, and then they out. Right.
Whoa.
From where?
Their arms opened and fists came out.
They unsheathed their fists, and then and then I just remember kind of a swath of people, because we were pretty close to the front because we had stayed pretty late into, we had like gotten there super early and stayed through a whole Mastodon set to see the Strokes.
You say that like it was a chore,
guys.
We just. Yeah,
what'd you
but
say,
also
wait. So you're saying Jay's saying Mastodon is tight.
Yes, that's right. I'm a dad now. I'm allowed to like Mastodon.
Hey, Yeah, we like Mastodon. We are both large and contain multitudes, and
Yes.
I like Mastodon as well as liking the Strokes.
You contain multitudes.
Really aren't that far off from each other on the spectrum. Like they're
No.
I mean, not
They
that far
occupy
off.
a similar
They're
sphere.
both just like 5 dudes who have guitars and stuff. So.
Wait, was this a what's it called? Music Midtown?
It was a festival in
No.
Atlanta called Shaky Knees.
Oh, wait. I went to one called Music Midtown that was in Atlanta and had a similar experience where I waited all day to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers with Big
Oh.
Sma.
Oh, I love that.
It was like almost the same year too. So I was like, that's crazy. What if we were almost in the
That's
same place?
awesome.
Yeah,
Whoa.
wait,
And
Did you find anyone?
Did you find anyone? Yeah.
No, I got mono though. Like I know
Oh.
that mono doesn't just come to you like within an hour, but it was like I left that day with mono. So I
I
don't really
feel
know how
like-
that happens.
You drank after someone.
Did you drink
I
after
guess.
someone, Freeze?
Yes, but do you get? I didn't think you got mono immediately. I thought it like came a few days later, or like it was like
in
2
my
weeks
mind,
later.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like that. So the first question we asked you was if you got into a fight, and you said no, I got mono, which in my opinion is probably option 2 of 2. Those are the 2 options you can have for a Red Hot Chili Peppers show. Is either the big fight, because
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I can't think of a more pugnacious band. You know, like just listening to "Hey-O, Listen What I Say-O" makes me want to just go.
Oh man, yeah.
Um,
They're formative for me. Well, they're formative for me and Sma because we were both really into Family Force 5, and then he tried to get me into the Chili Peppers from there. He's like, yo, you got to check out Chili Peppers. And I was always like, I don't really like this, or I didn't think I liked it. And then we both, like, I got really into I'm With You. You know that one?
yeah.
It's like
That-
Rick
and
Rubin and all that.
A weird one to get into, not one of the famous ones.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, but
Wait,
I still
I'm With
haven't
You
gotten
is
into
the-
Stadium
I'm With
Arcadium or
You
anything.
Is the fly on top of the pill, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Love that one.
It's really, and maybe it was also, I don't know, I had like a Rick Rubin phase, or maybe everyone did at that point because I was listening to like the Avett Brothers a lot, and then
Cool.
the Chili Peppers, and it was like, whoa, everything that I like, even if it's a completely different genre, Rick Rubin is touched. It was very weird. You know what I
Very
mean?
cool.
Yeah.
And so like, because I feel like on the, let's say theoretically, the Chili Peppers forums that I've spent time on, they're not a real thing, but like I feel like most of like the Chili Peppers heads are all big into the one with the lava pool.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Stadium Arcadium.
Californication.
Californication.
That's the one that they all like, which
I'm
I
sorry.
also like fine.
Yeah.
But I think that I am with you on that. The later Chili Pepper stuff where they kind of show a little bit more like breadth. There's like some gentleness,
Yes,
and then
totally.
also some like some of like the Wet and Wild Chili Peppers kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think that stuff also like appealed to me a lot more.
I want to rewind to where Freeze, you said that you didn't think you would like Chili Peppers, and I want to know if it's because of how they dressed
I think
Or
it was
didn't
because,
dress.
or didn't dress, as
Yeah.
the case may be.
I don't know. I mean, I think I really didn't like rock music until somewhere in high school. Like, or I didn't realize I did because I liked Christian music in elementary school. And then I got really, in 5th grade, I got obsessed with Daft Punk. And so I
Yeah.
went from like, and then the only way I got out of Daft Punk was in 7th grade. I found the Avett Brothers. So anyway, fast forward to me listening to Chili Peppers and like rock music in high school. I'd gone from like techno and like electronica to folk. And I didn't understand. I just thought most rock music was just like loud and like too aggressive and too explicit. And I just
And
didn't
too,
really
like,
understand
silly?
it. Yeah, it's silly and sometimes just too, I don't know. It's just like over the top and loud. And I just didn't really understand it. And I also just
You heard
didn't-
it here first. Nordista Freeze does not like music that is loud
Yeah, right.
and
Well,
exciting.
I liked dance music. I wanted to dance, and then all of a sudden I wanted to be a little folk boy and listen to folk like Avett Brothers and Lumineers and stuff. But
Jupiter Squeeze. And I love
yes,
that stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, I think that's how
5
Zach and I
Seconds
found.
of Summer.
That's how Zach and I found each other.
Oh, that's
5 Seconds of
awesome.
Summer. What is this red
I'm
herring or
just
whatever?
kidding.
I did. Yeah. Well, yeah. I never listened to 5 Seconds of Summer, but One Direction was probably an influence on my high school band. Back when I wanted to be in a boy band, really, I still kind of do,
Freeze,
but
I have something to ask you that's some connective tissue between what you just said and what you said a few minutes ago. The first time that I ever met you, you were playing in a band called Joseph Marlowe, where you were the lead singer and also played maybe a drum or something.
that's right. Standing up drummer.
Which is just peak 2010s, like 2009 is singer with some sort of drum. We did it too. We've all done it, and it's good. We should all still be doing it. I don't know. And
Why did we stop?
Why did we stop doing that? But one of the things I remember is that your band finished the set, and maybe it was an encore, maybe it was just your last song, came back, and you played a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. You played By the Way.
Standing in line to see the. Yeah, dude. Where was that?
You even did the like, cash back. Or I don't know what any words are, but like when he says, "They think I'm leeway." Do you think that if given the chance now, like maybe at like a karaoke bar or something, you would be able to just from the hip remember every single one of those lyrics?
I actually didn't know any of the words. Big Small was the one who like wanted us to do that song, and he knew all the words.
But you were singing it.
Yeah, I think I was singing some of it. I think the rapping part. Wait, where did you see us anyway? Where was this? Do you not remember?
We were playing with a band that either opened for you or you opened.
Oh,
for
at the
us.
end.
At the end.
That makes sense.
Oh, you know what it was? Wow, we're full circle because it was with what became And the Boys, because it was Brady Hyan's band called Mind Not the Timid that we were in.
That's exactly what it was. I remember now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
You guys have told me this once before, and I completely forgot. I cannot believe that is the same person. Wait, Mind Not the Timid.
Yeah.
And Joseph Marlowe played at the end together. And so that was when we met in the parking lot. That's the first. Oh my gosh, dude.
So I wish that
I don't remember the parking lot, but I wish I did because it does seem
I just remember meeting a bunch of people in that band, but y'all were like
there were 1,000 people in that band.
Was it like Arcade Fire influenced? Would that be it?
Yeah, it was just like a huge orchestra.
It was like Polyphonic Spree.
Okay. Yeah.
It was very good. It was Brady Hines sort of it was like his brainchild. And he was arranging everything and writing everything, arranging everything, and we were,
we were just hanging out.
That's funny because like the Brady that I've been hanging out with, like, and the music that And the Boys makes now is like so different from that music,
Yeah, in some ways.
As is mine, but still, I don't know. It's just
I wish we had photos of you and him playing that show together, so that you can go ahead and throw those out there online when you release your new hit single.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, I wish. I can't believe that. So I didn't know I didn't know we had met that long ago. I'm now, or that we were in the same space at least.
What do you think that was? 2011.
I'm gonna say like 2013 or something.
Well, that seems.
You think if I type it into Google, Joseph Marlowe, Mind Not the Timid?
No.
Actually, maybe.
Wait,
so.
does Google keep that stuff?
Let's go. December 22nd. December 22nd, 2013.
He crushed it.
Wow.
Late 2013.
That's later than I thought. That's way later than I thought.
No, that makes sense though, because
How
I would have
old
been
was
like
Joseph Marlowe?
I would have been. Well, we started in 2012.
Okay.
So wait, the December 2013. So I was a junior in high school. Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
That's crazy. Okay, wow. So why were you guys not in Jackson? Were y'all all in school at the time? Y'all were all in college at
We went to college
Union.
with Brady.
Yeah, at Union, but we were all from Nashville, so we were just there.
And Brady was from Nashville too.
and it was a holiday season because it was the 22nd of December. Okay.
Most of that band didn't go to school with us. They were all just Nashville natives that were friends, and I think that had gone to high school together or something, and maybe in Franklin or something, which we didn't, but the rest of them did.
Well, can we briefly get into like me knowing y'all, because I don't really know very much about it. Here's all I know. I remember I was at a friend's house one time, and he asked me if I'd ever heard the band Flying Colors, And I said no. And they put in, I'm pretty sure it was one of those, remember like when Apple would say these like fat things that would like have the little point you'd stick in your iPod so stand straight
that's
up.
Peak. That's pinnacle of music right there.
That was the most planned obsolescence. Like, and then whenever they made the USB go from like this big to that big, and just like every single one of those just threw them away.
Well, every time, then you would try to plug your thing in it, and just a little face would come up on. It was Steve Jobs' face would come up on your screen, and he would wink and go, and it would say "Gotcha" on it.
Now you need another one of these little bastards.
Oh man, those were the worst. They would always break. So anyway, I heard that band, and then I realized some point along the way later that my friends in this band Flyco, that I was like, that's short for Flying Colors, and I've known about this band way longer than I ever thought I did.
Nice.
Is that when did that band start? Is there like and if there's a history before that of like y'all's music, I would be interested to hear about that as well.
I think I could take this one, or I'm trying to like think of. Well, I was about to, and then I realized there's more. It goes back.
It goes deep. It goes deep into you and I recording songs onto a cassette recorder that we were required to own because we were in Nashville Children's Choir in like 4th grade. And
no,
that's
way.
true.
Like a cassette recorder that we had to use for rehearsals, and so then we just had a cassette recorder, at home,
and not a nice one.
Oh no, a bad one, but like who cares? It's and I got my first guitar. How old do you think I was? Probably 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And I got like a little baby Taylor with the strings that are like a mile away from the fretboard, and you're like,
it just like hurts your hands to play.
I can do this.
Me and Jay would be like, I can do everything but the C. The C chord is really hard.
Dude, I hated that. I wish that's one thing that I wish, like, I don't know. I wish that I had known that I would have bought a better guitar earlier.
Same.
Like if I had known that like it was more fun to play. Like I've just struggled for years on these terrible guitars. And then I'll go over to a friend's house. I'm like, wow, I see why you like doing this. I can see
it's like, oh wait, you can do it and it doesn't hurt?
Yeah, right.
Well, I think it was interesting because a few years after, or maybe like a year after that or something, when we got that acoustic guitar and we were playing with it, we both have played piano since we were like 3 or something. And so we were doing piano and guitar stuff, and we're just like, well, this is cool because now we can play every single Coldplay song that we listen to from the ages of like 10 to 13. Because me and Jay would steal our dad's albums from his home office when he was gone, and we would never tell him, and we wouldn't give them back either. We would wait for him to leave. We would wait for him to leave, and then we would go into his, because my dad had a ton of CDs, like way more than this. Like he had drawers and drawers of CDs that he would listen to, and so when he would leave and go to work, then me and Jay would like just start digging through them and be like, well, this one has a cool cover. And I think that we saw Rush of Blood to the Head in like 2003, so we're like 11, and we found Rush of Blood to the Head in his drawer, and we're like, the cover of this looks awesome. And
wow, cool.
And we were and so we picked that up, and
that had just come. That was 2002, so like that album, so that was fresh.
Yeah, he was really big into Coldplay in the beginning, from like '99. He's been big into Coldplay, and he went to go see him at the Ryman, and I remember him coming back and like giving us the DVD and everything, and so we like learned those songs, and he was big into Keen as well, the band Keen, which me and Jay, since then we also like pulled out some of their records and we're like, well, the cover of this looks awesome. We'll just take this upstairs and listen to this forever. And I think I still have my dad's copies of like those old Keen records and the old Coldplay records, like back here now. I still listen to them all the time. But we would listen to those and like pick them out, like just with ears on acoustic and on piano. And then Jay, for Christmas, or maybe do we share it? I can't remember if you got it or in effect we both got an electric guitar, our first electric guitar and amp, and boy, that just literally changed everything.
Whoa, yeah.
We can make it so loud. We can make it just so loud, and the amp also had onboard effects, so we could use echo and have just the most like cacophonous, like amazing to us. I mean, probably terrible, but like
amazing to us sound in our room of just like, infinite delay loops, like just go. And
Yes.
we're like 13 at this point.
So-
and
No,
like,
sharing the guitar, just like passing it back and forth.
It was a Fender. It was a beautiful Fender Strat. It has since
Well,
been stolen at
Well,
a
I think
show.
that actually taught us a lot, though.
That
I know.
stinks, man.
It was a good Strat.
We didn't really share it because we did share it, but we also had the acoustic, and then we also had piano. So it kind of taught us pretty early on how to like adapt
Yeah,
to
right.
the tools. And
That makes sense.
And I remember like as soon as we did that, then we were like, oh, we're like halfway to band now. Like two boys that already like all the same stuff. Like we're halfway to band.
I think that is part one.
Wow.
And then part two is that shortly after that. Oh, I'm peeking. I'm just saw. Sorry.
You're peaking, bro.
I saw I was peeking. Oh man, I'm very sorry. Okay. Part two is that our older friend, or he was basically like an uncle kind of. He babysat us when we were little, but he was like, do y'all know about like torrents?
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
right.
man.
And we were like,
at that point we were
no,
still like 13.
We're like,
So like, of course we didn't know what torrents were. We weren't even allowed to have an Xanga. Like we didn't know.
yeah.
We weren't allowed to use the internet like
Oh boy.
that much. I mean,
And
we were
so
like
we're
12.
no, like what is that? And he was like, oh, and I remember that night, like before he left, he torrented and burned us a CD of In Rainbows, the Radiohead album. And the way it like, the way he like got the files, it like some of them got kind of corrupted, and it was the like extended version with the whole like second disc, but they were all out of order and like weirdly corrupted in weird spots. And we listened to that
We listened
like Frankenstein
the
in Rainbows
hell out
album.
of that album.
Listened to it so much.
I mean, like 100 times per day.
And it taught us how to
wow.
play. It taught us how to play like drums, and, like how to like make guitar melodies and
That's
like,
a
taught us
crazy
about
record
lyrics
to
and
hear over and over. Wow.
yeah.
That's cool,
I
man.
feel like
And I
that
remember
record taught us
that-
how to play
I remember that
Yeah.
there's also that record also has a lot of like I mean it's a rock and roll album. I mean, it uses the traditional elements of the stuff that we've been listening to, which was Coldplay and Keane and Oasis and that kind of stuff. But it also like allowed for a lot more room of like adding some different textures and some kind of weird stuff in there that we got really excited about kind of
and
like
more like empty space too.
Yeah. A lot of like the kind of like weird stuff that you can do sonically that breaks some rules, and that got us like super excited about what we were allowed to do, just because we didn't really know any better until we heard somebody else do it. And they were like, oh, nice. Well, we can do that too,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
right.
And I think it was after that, as far as musical journey, it was after that we started the band, and then also started listening to we started listening to the Vanderbilt radio station WRVU.
Yes.
That
That
when
is
we were
Cool.
like
that
we were like
clinched it.
when we were like 14 and 15, that was like what got us into like music discovery, which I would say to me is like as important, probably more important, definitely more important than making music even. Like I'm more of a music listener than I am a music maker, although I love, to make music, and I'm very proud of the stuff that we made. But I think that it's more exciting to me and more fulfilling for me to be a finder and to kind of hear and like experience new sounds like that. And listening to WRVU was amazing because it was before it would happen at a very formative time. And I don't mean formative in like how old we were. I mean time of day, like, because we would listen to it as soon as we got in bed to go to sleep, like get in bed. And me and Jay slept in we shared a room, and we used to have bunk beds, and then we moved them into just two like side by side beds with a dresser in between. And that in that dresser, then we had my old like stereo, and we would just turn one speaker towards each of our pillows, and we would listen to WRVU all night, like would go to sleep but then kind of like wake up and we'd hear, and now we would like hear just like little bits of like,
You
maybe
did
like
a lot
early,
of work. during
yeah.
this time.
And we'd listen to like some early like Fleet Foxes or something, like something we'd listen to and be like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's that? You know, and then like
It's like 3 a.m.
it's like 3 a.m. So what I did was, what I ended up doing, because I would wake up and I would remember, oh, I loved this, but I couldn't remember anything about it. So what I would do is I kept a scrap of paper by my bed. I wish I still had it too, because that'd be so cool. But I kept a scrap of paper by my bed, and if I like was like woken up in the middle of the night and really liked something that I was hearing, then I would just like kind of scroll down whatever it was about that I liked or that I remembered, or like some lyrics from it or something. And then the next morning, then I would just Google search like what I had listened to last night and like find whatever song that was, which could have been anything, you know. And like,
yeah.
So in that way, we really like did our homework, you know, like listening to.
This is in high school, right?
Yeah, we were probably like
Early
14,
high school,
15, like ninth grade, 10th grade.
Wow. And y'all were homeschooled, so you could like you could wake up at 3 a.m. and chill and just sleep in. You didn't have to.
Kind of.
Well, it's not how
Everybody
that
says
works.
that. I wish that's how that worked. For some people, it probably does. For us, it didn't work like that. I wish that it did.
Wow. Okay. So, wow, this is crazy. This is an amazing story. So y'all got into WRVU, which is now gone, right?
Yeah,
I remember when there would be
As far as I can
petitions
tell,
at
it's
Grimies
gone.
that you could sign,
I know.
Yeah.
and they'd be
Well,
like, "Save
Grimies-
Signed it many
WRVU."
times.
Grimies was a huge part of that time too, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we'd hear a thing, we'd be like, wow, so that was that like Beach Boys B-side from the 60s, you know, like, or something like weird that,
Mm-hmm.
because WRVU, it was like college students, so they were like
Right.
priding themselves on only playing weird stuff, you know, like.
That's where I heard about Smile. I remember.
Yeah, totally. So
Probably
it's like,
us too, honestly.
That's
yeah,
cool.
I'm sure. But Grimies played a huge part in that too, because all that scene of like those college kids was really like kind of who we looked up to, and eventually who we were like playing shows with in like early high school and
Yeah.
10th, 11th grade and stuff. We're playing with like some of like the college kids that would like maybe like worked at Grimies or something like that. And actually,
Whoa, really?
probably like just a ton of these CDs, like 2/3 are from Grimies and the other 1/3 is
Yeah.
from McKay, all between like, cause I don't really buy CDs anymore. Like I don't really, unless it's like something crazy that's like,
Yeah, those
that's
are
the only way I
probably
can
a
get
lot of our high school
but
purchases.
most of this is just like stuff that me
Yeah,
and Jay
right.
were buying in high school. So it's really kind of a peek into what we liked, which is why there's like, you know, every Strokes album on CD in
Right.
there, or like, or you know, or something like that. It's just like, it's just what we were into, or what we knew that our like dad was like liked and told us to listen to at some point. So we're like, oh yeah, we should get to that. So I'll buy this U2, you know, early U2 record that nobody's ever heard, because of course I only do Joshua Tree because it's the only one that matters. And like, but he was like, no, there's a lot more U2 albums that are really good. So we would just kind of take his word for it, and just if we saw it in the
Whoa.
record store, we'd be like, oh well, my dad said this was good. So
What is it? Does your dad just love music, or does your dad do music like professionally?
He doesn't at all.
you know, he doesn't do it. I think that he
He's a big like
Before we were-
Brian Eno head.
yeah.
Mm.
Before we were
Cool.
born, I think he had like a vague notion of wanting to get into production, and that still kind of translates into the kind of music that he likes, which is very like heavily produced stuff. And like he recently, when he was over at my house the other day, then he saw my Moby album in there in my records, and he was like, oh yeah, I love that record. And so he put it on and listened to that Moby record.
Yeah,
That's cool.
right.
He really likes that. And so he likes that kind of like heavily produced kind of stuff. He just texted me and Jay about this artist named Dan Deacon. Do you know Dan Deacon?
Yeah, for sure.
He just texted us about Dan
He's like,
Deacon.
I've just
Like,
discovered Dan Deacon.
he was like, I've just discovered Dan Deacon. You guys
Cool.
know this? And we're like, yeah, Dad, of course. Like,
Yeah, right.
we're not usually that mean to him.
Dan Deacon. I thought Dan Deacon was in Animal Collective for like years. It
Yeah,
was
that was
very
just a
confusing.
similar
It was very
vibe.
confusing for me because
Yeah.
there's someone named Deacon who
Deacon
is
spelled-
or used
and
to
he
be.
spells
in-
it differently.
Yeah.
and I
spelled
was
a
just like,
different way.
wow, cool. He does solo music, and so that was very confusing for me.
Deacon does do solo music. We don't need to talk about that right now. But every member of Animal
Deacon's
Collective
solo music's good,
does solo music that's just awesome, and Deacon's is great too, and he does a lot of cool production stuff too. We can talk about that later. But
Well, wait,
Animal
so what,
Collective is great. That's
did
the
your
band I've
dad
seen the
like?
most.
Wait, really? You've seen them live?
I've seen them 3 times.
What on earth?
No, that's the band
it's
I've
like a
seen the
dream.
second most. The band I've seen the
You're getting
most
braggy.
is yeah. This is a real flex. The band I've seen the most is Blitz and Trapper.
Blitz and Trapper, same for me.
And Jay's seen them more than I have.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Um,
serious?
How
That's
many
the
times have
one
you seen
band
them,
I've
Jay?
like. That's the one band I've like made the effort to see many, many times.
They always put on it just like the coolest show. I can't remember who.
Wow.
How many times have you seen them, Jay? Like 6.
I think 6 or 7, maybe 7.
I cannot believe this, man. So wait, okay, we have to talk about this for a second. Have you guys dug into All Across This Land?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. It's great.
From 2015, I think.
Yeah, it's a great
Dude,
record.
Small and I love that album.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's
I've
really
never
good.
met anyone else who loves that album.
It's way more straightforward than anything else they've ever done. When they started out, it's almost like if Animal Collective were only allowed to use instruments that the Grateful Dead used. Then that was like how they started out. It was like only weirdo,
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
weird, which is all great. I mean,
Yeah,
amazing.
super good.
But
They really
but
settled into an Americana groove.
They have like gradually like zeroed in on this incredibly like just Springsteen like Western
Exactly, yeah.
sky
It's like
kind
shiny.
of stuff. Like
Yeah.
They've been
it's really
sharpening the
great.
knife. They've been sharpening the knife for years.
And
Wow.
they deserve it, honestly,
Moaned.
because they have been grinding. Those guys are like 100 years old now, and they have been a band for a bazillion years. And like, it's so cool that they have kind of earned the right to be like just straight up, just like pop now, and they're
Yeah,
so
right.
good.
Yeah, it really is a pop record. I love that song when he like goes in, he's like playing the character of like a dad whose like son doesn't know him, and he's like at that
Yes.
football game. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, I've just never thought that I could just be a different character in my music. You know, I forget that you can do that.
For sure.
It's just so cool, dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's like, I think those are the kind of things that like really got us going.
This is what
back
I have
then.
on this cassette tape is
Oh,
what
Fur?
I have on my.
Is that what that album's
on my
called, or is
organ
that
right
just
now.
the song?
Yeah, it's Fur. That's the
Cool.
album.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
We're big BT heads.
Oh yeah. I feel like it was that kind of stuff in that era of our lives where it was a pretty creative time for music in general. Like there were a lot of rules being broken just because they could, which
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily make for like the best ever music, but it definitely paved the way for somebody like Bon Iver or somebody
Like
to
Frank
like
Ocean.
step. Yeah, especially like Frank Ocean way later. But I'm talking about before that with like I'm From Barcelona and Beirut
Yeah.
and even like early Phoenix and just like stuff like that where
Man, it's so good.
it seemed like rules didn't matter anymore. And
Yeah, that was an
and
exciting
it was
time.
almost like it was cool to sound kind of bad, like not bad, but just to sound kind of unprofessional, which I love. And I don't think, and I think in some ways that kind of stuff happens now too, but it sounds very different from that.
It's like bedroom pop. Back then it was like
Yeah.
lo-fi, but it was like not, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
There weren't like beats and stuff. It was more
Yeah.
like the Shins or something, you know?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
lo-fi, and it was people using who didn't really know how to use their computers very well, so they were just like,
Yeah, right.
well, what does a computer do? Okay, a computer makes video game sounds. Okay, cool. Well, I'll do that while I play these power chords, on my like
Yeah,
distorted electric guitar, which isn't great, but definitely like got the point across in a really nice way.
Do you feel? I think about music like this a lot, and I'm curious to see if you also felt this way, Freeze. Like, so much of our musical journey that we have been waxing poetic on now for a very long time, is like you hear a record and my thought, like the word, it's hard to put it into words, but the words are like, oh, we're allowed to do this?
Yes, dude.
Wait, we've been allowed to do this the whole time? Like
Totally.
when Sufjan Stevens came out with Come On, Feel the Illinois, and it comes out and we're like, wait, we can do that? We're
You
allowed
can
to do
name
that?
songs that, you can write songs like that. You can,
Yes, and I feel that way about a lot of music, and even now when I hear music, like, oh shoot, I've been allowed to do that the whole time. Like,
Yes, exactly.
do you? Does that make sense? Like, do you
It
feel that way
totally
about
makes
stuff?
sense. I feel the way about, I mean, we were just talking about Superbody earlier today. Like
Oh,
he's
gosh.
somebody who, like, when I heard his music, I was just like, wow. Like, and when I saw his persona, I was just like, even at a DIY level, you meet these people and you're just like, wow. There, and I think one example that I think of is Jonathan Richman when he was in the Modern Lovers, when he talks about going down to Bermuda and just seeing people there having fun while making music, and he says I realized how stiff I'd become, and I just feel that I felt that when I heard Superbody, just anything, like you're like, wow, I forget I can have fun, or then it's like sometimes it's other things, sometimes it's like 100 gex, and you're like, wow, I forget that you can just like follow your intuition the way these people are. It's just
follow your id.
Yeah, that's some of the most inspiring, like, kind of just it's some of the most inspiring, like, persona that I can imagine. Like, even the fact that their biggest platform right now, even the Gex biggest platform right now is on Minecraft, which is like the sickest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, right.
Like the fact that they kind of own a whole cultural space there is really, really exciting to me, and that they can make songs that are like so beautiful and so like emotional, but use just kind of the most like basic tools,
using like GarageBand.
There's like GarageBand, though, like, okay, so I'll pull this sound, put it right there, I won't change it at all. All right, that's it, that's the song, and then it's like, but there's still something very creative, like completely creative about it.
I gotta say, y'all were on the Gex train like a year before anyone else. I don't know if that's an actual leak.
Dude, I remember the day the first single from that record came out, because I listened. We were playing at a wedding that day, and I was listening to that song, and I pulled in, and I said, and I like rolled down the window, because you and Asher were Asher Peterson. You friends with Asher Peterson?
Mm-hmm.
We were playing at a wedding with Asher, and Rob and Asher were standing out by the car, and I pulled up, and I rolled down the window, and I remember being just like looking at him, being like, guys, I just heard either the worst song in the world or the best song in the world. And it was because Money Machine had just come out.
But even before that, Jay, then you and me and Brady were really into that EP that came out in like 2018 or something.
By Gex?
Yeah, there's an old EP that's called 100 Gex, and it's 4 songs or maybe 5. And
you can still listen to it. It's on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
on Spotify streaming.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. That's I had no idea.
It's cool.
And it's really, really good. And it is kind of, it sounds like demos. I mean, that's in effect what it is, but like it sounded like demos of just kind of the most raw sort of emotional sound that you can make.
You're right. It's on Spotify.
And there was a song on it. Jay, what's the song we heard in 2018?
Why didn't I know this?
Bloodstains.
No, not that. It's
I don't know. Dog food?
It does have a dog sound, but it's not that one.
Is it gum?
Anyway, can't remember.
They're cool.
Anyway, all I'm trying to say is that I think that Gex is a great modern equivalent of like a place where creativity. I'm not sure how exciting the realm that 2010, like the tools that we used in 2010 to make really exciting stuff. I'm not sure how exciting people are using those tools to make music now, but I think that people are using different tools to make stuff that occupies the same cultural space, and that is still like interesting and fun.
I think that's very true.
And
cool.
and even something like TikTok, which I don't know. I shouldn't actually talk about TikTok, because I remember my friend telling me about TikTok the day that it happened, and I downloaded it to my phone, and I still have not opened up the app. Not once have I opened it up.
That's funny. I feel like you'd be all over that, because y'all are just always ahead of the game. Everything.
Well,
I'm 28.
Yeah, we're 28-year-old men. We don't know anything. We haven't been cool in so long. I think that I think that whereas like TikTok does have like a way to make music famous, like to make interesting music exciting. I don't really think that TikTok is the medium that creates the fun and exciting music, and that's why I've never really like been excited about it. Like I think that it can elevate some stuff that is already exciting, but I don't think that it's responsible for the creation.
That makes sense. I mean, I do feel, because I feel like I don't know, one thing that I think is so cool about y'all is that y'all are just like people who just continue to adapt, and like I don't feel like you don't hold on to anything you shouldn't. And I feel like I'm trying to learn that myself. Like I'm trying to learn how to like, 'cause I mean, actually TikTok is an example I used in a past show about how like I didn't download it just because I thought it was stupid, and then I realized I had no idea why I thought that, and I was actually just being a curmudgeon. I was like, people are using like I was just like, why I'm gonna like this is the first time that I was like catching myself just like not staying fresh, and I wasn't sure why. And I don't know, y'all are just people who I feel like continue to stay fresh, and you're just like, oh,
Man.
like here's how things work now, and like we're willing to adapt to that.
That is very kind of you to say. I do a lot of grognardish things when it comes to music, that because it's like there's no well, even just I remember talking to you a long time ago about writing music, and so like the way that people can write music using all these different like MIDI tools and stuff like that, and that the only way that I can do it is like on a real piano with with my voice. It's just the only way I know.
Still true.
It's the only thing the only way I do it.
And
So,
even
really?
even
That's
in
very
our more
old school.
even in our most recent music, like
That doesn't use
like
any
the
real
like the
instruments.
Flyco album, even that, like I feel like was mostly written on just straight up piano, and then we just eliminated the piano from almost all of it. And then the music that we're working on now, the music that we're working on now, I feel like a lot of it, began that way. And
Well, so okay, so let's go back to so you said you guys both played piano when you were like 3, like just always been playing piano.
yeah, our mom is a
Um,
piano teacher. That's why she made us do it. We didn't want to.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh man, my headphones came out. I can't hear you again.
Okay, so
Don't say anything mean.
This bruise, like it was on like a piece of dry skin.
All right.
I don't know what you just said. Okay, so we
I hope
started
this
talking about
recording is working.
yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
If not,
Regardless, I'm loving hanging out for you.
if not, same thing tomorrow. Actually tomorrow I'm talking to and the boys, which is gonna be sick.
Awesome.
So anyway,
You better do it before 9 p.m. because 9 p.m. we got our show, and we need all and the boys in the comments, and we need Nordista Freeze in the comments.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to talk about. I have so many questions about Real Sword TV. Okay, so but first I need to finish hearing about Flying Colors because I don't know anything about it, and if I leave tonight and still don't know anything about it, I'm going to be disappointed in myself.
We started Flying Colors, and it was me and Rob and Taylor Hare. I don't think you know, but
I know him from Taylor Fest. He played drums on Good Times.
Yes, Taylor Fest, which was a celebration of our friend
celebration of Taylor, yeah.
Yes.
We grew up with him, and he was just like he was like another brother to us, and we listened to a lot of the same music and just like learned how to make music together a lot.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
At TLC?
no,
go to TLC?
He didn't go to TLC. We did. We
kind
Or
of
homeschooled though.
we
right?
dabbled. We like did their theater stuff, but we didn't like go to class.
We went to school at a small private school
Yeah,
called
go to
Whitver Academy that's in Green Hills. So we're not actually technically homeschooled, technically private schooled. But
Okay.
Yeah. But us and Taylor, we would hang out and like, I feel like he introduced us to a lot of classic rock that I like didn't care about, and he like made us care about it when we were younger.
Okay. Yeah.
Or he'd be like, I promise you it's worth it to like listen to this rock and roll album from the
I promise that it's worth it to listen to Queen and Night at the Opera all the way through.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Taylor, but it's so long.
It's so
Taylor,
long and also old.
Oh, the guy's so old and it's not good. But then we kept listening to it and we're like, all right, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick actually.
And so we started Flying Colors when we were in 9th grade, I guess.
Maybe 8th, end of 8th.
We were probably 13. We were probably 12 or 13. And we started Flying Colors because we were like, well, now we're going to do a band. we saw all these grown
What the world needs
bands.
now is 3 9th grade white boys to start a new band.
Yeah. So we're going to do a band now. And this is the band that we're going to do is Flying Colors.
Cool.
And so then we like played at like our school's like band.
Proms
There
and
were a lot
stuff.
of bands at our school,
Yes.
and so they would do like
A lot
shows
of bands
where
at the private school, the small private school.
yeah, it's like
Are any of them
homeschool-
still
homeschool.
bands or like still doing music?
Yeah, a lot of them have
some of them
split off
actually. A lot of them.
into like bandy bands or like solo artists.
Brendan Mayer is the one who I was thinking of, who's like, man,
I was about to say
his stuff
Brendan
now
is
is
the
still
greatest.
so good.
Yeah.
And I remember that watching him then.
Cool.
A lot of kids were like older than us in bands, and I remember watching him then and being like, he's the greatest. And now, even when I hear him, I'm like, oh, he's the greatest.
That's awesome.
I think that we still like hold a lot of those just like kind of almost like celebrity like when we were in high school, we listened to a lot of Pujol, who was from Nashville, and we like just adored Pujol. And
Yeah,
even
right.
now, like who I would say we're in a similar, I mean, he's not like, I would say we're in a similar echelon, but if I
Is he doing
saw,
music?
yeah, he is. But like,
Oh,
if
okay.
I saw Pujol,
He like
like
makes
in this,
poetry now or something.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
he's
so good.
extremely cool. But like, if I saw Pujol on the street, even now, I would be like, it would be like meeting it would be like meeting a celebrity.
I would melt.
Right.
I would
Totally.
lose my
And
mind.
honestly, that was me with Cheyenne, also our mutual friend Cheyenne
Really?
Nutters.
Yeah.
Because we would like when I was a kid, like I saw him open for Dr. Dog when I was like a kid, and I was like, this guy's incredible.
Under what name?
Under the name The Metters.
It would have been.
It was him and
his,
him and
it
his
was
brothers.
family. Yeah,
They
his
opened
brothers.
up for Dr. Dog?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
sick.
it was sick. It was so good.
Wow,
And
I'm
we
so
saw
glad I
them-
didn't know that because I would have been so nervous. Like I feel like I had no idea who Cheyenne was when we played a show together in Searcy, Arkansas, at the 20-year anniversary of Midnight Oil, and
That's
like
so cool.
I just like had no clue who he was, and so like I just was very nonchalant. And if I had known all the things he had done, I would have been very nervous.
No,
we saw him open for
Cheyenne
Dr.
is-
Dog, and I remember being like, oh shoot, like because we were there to go see Dr. Dog, of course, but then we were like, they made they were so much better, like so
They
much
were better
more,
than
they were
Dr.
like
Dog,
more
yeah.
exciting, more interesting, did crazier things. Music like hit me more,
Whoa.
and so
what
you
on
know,
earth?
and so even still like with Shy, I still feel a little like kind of.
Where was this? What venue?
That was also in Searcy.
Oh, wait. Why
It was
did you go to
at-
Searcy to see a show?
Seriously, well, because first of all,
This is
Dr. Dog.
complicated.
Second of all, it was free, and
Yeah, it was free.
Oh, so it was at
and-
Harding.
it was
Yes.
at Harding.
Harding had Dr. Dog play?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What on earth?
And the only reason we knew about Harding University, I mean,
Oh,
it's very
'cause we went
small,
to
but
that
like
thing.
it is because both of our parents went to Harding
Mhm.
University.
Oh, I see.
and,
I see.
And so I think that we were scouting it out to maybe go to school there, because it was before college, so we were like looking
I
at
could see y'all
different
going there.
colleges, and that was one of them that we were looking at. And one of the visits that we went was when Dr. Dog was playing and Cheyenne opened, and we ended up not going to school there, which is fine. But that experience there was extremely cool, and I remember just being
I
like,
cannot
oh
believe
wow,
that.
like we can like that was another like kind of unlocking of like, oh yeah, music can be this like exciting. And
That was also so we went there with Taylor. We like drove there
Unbelievable.
with Taylor, and it was right after not right after, a little bit after we'd started Flying Colors, and so like we went there and we like met Cheyenne and talked to him for a while, and Cheyenne really inspired us, I think, just a lot that night, and like talking to him that night, being like, oh, I guess being a band isn't like getting lucky; it's just doing it. You just do
Yeah.
it. You just like
Whoa,
you
yeah,
just do the
right.
work. You just make the songs, and then that's how you do a band.
Totally.
And
So true.
so we made a record. Like we had written a bunch of songs through high school, and so we made like a short EP that was like heavy produced by these two guys who were in a Beatles cover band who like whatever, like
it's pretty classic.
That's
like,
such a
high school-
relatable, like first EP or
Yes,
something. Just
yes.
like some dad who's just like, oh, I know how to produce things, and you're like, sweet. And then in
to be
retrospect, you're
fair-
like, Go ahead,
to
go ahead.
be extremely fair, like these guys were both very good at their job. and like
what I was gonna
and made us sound.
Come
made
on,
us
I don't
sound
mean to throw shade. I've never
very,
even heard
very,
this
very
album.
cool.
That's
but
it though.
it is a similar thing to where we had these songs that we gave to them that were our post Radiohead feelings that we had for the last 3 years. and they were like, cool. It was the first kind of experience we'd had where somebody listened to our songs either live or like in a demo recording and not gone, oh yeah, this is the best thing I've ever heard. You know, it's like, because I think that we had been very like, we would play anything live, we play any show ever, or like or like let anybody listen to anything to be like, wow, yeah, this is amazing. Like this is amazing, you know?
And we're like,
and
yes, it is.
And we're like, yeah, you're right. You know, it is.
Yeah.
But I remember playing it for those producers, and me and Jay both just kind of being like, yeah, so what do you think? You know, like
pretty cool, right?
We're like 16 years old, and both of them
listen to this part. This part's a
this part is sick. Yeah, listen to that. You get that lyric. Yeah, I'm like, and I remember both of those producer guys were like, yeah, like, you know, I definitely like where you're headed with this. I'd like to change this, and they would just kept listing stuff that they like want to do differently, and they did a ton of homework with our songs to make them better and to like. And initially we were very miffed about that. We were like, well, they just don't understand our, you know, vision, like, or something, like they don't understand what we're going for, you know.
Right.
And we ended up coming to some real like loggerheads with them in the studio, being like, no, this song has to be 6 minutes and the last 5 minutes have to be instrumental and you know, or something like that. And like
wow, y'all were that
there has to be a minute and a half of silence between them.
That's pretty cool. Like, wow, y'all were artists from the very beginning. You weren't willing to.
No,
I would have just been like, cool. I'm sure they know more than me. Whatever. Like at that age, I would have just been like, whatever.
That makes it sound way cooler than it actually was. Like,
yeah, you sound cool.
No, we don't.
You sound like some real just little piss heads and
little stinkers.
Yeah, little stinkers. But
little stinkers.
I do think that it was a really, really good thing for us in that to be like, oh, because those initial songs, which is basically like the best songs we'd written in high school, that kind of got whittled down into this one very bite-sized EP. That still sounds good. But like, listening, like being able to make those, I think kind of led us on the path of making what our next record was, which we made in college. And it was so basically out of all of high school, out of writing music and playing shows and writing a bazillion songs, we made one EP all throughout all of high school. And it was 6 songs.
Flyco?
And no, it's under Flying Colors. And the EP is called Music from a Farther Room. And, cool. and it's fine.
Check it out.
No, I mean, you know, it's whatever. It's fine. Because it's songs we wrote when we were 14 and 15.
Colors is spelled like French, right? Or
it's spelled British because the other spelling was already taken.
It was Mike Portnoy's band,
and it was one of the guys from
Dream Theater, right?
It was one of the guys from Dream Theater had a solo project that had the original like the like COLORS spelling already taken.
Yes.
Wait,
great.
That's on Spotify.
From 2010, yeah, man.
I think that the first one is from Spotify, but our second record is only on Bandcamp, and that was the
first time we'd ever done it ourselves.
That was the first time we'd ever just kind of did it ourselves, and it was all of it. It was like basically our college, like the first 2 years of college, that we like wrote songs and did it ourselves. And that record is when we didn't have to answer to no one or nobody, and we made a weird album. And
wow, cool.
It is pretty good.
Why isn't it on streaming? What?
And when I say pretty good, I mean
like
okay.
You mean we played a lot of electric guitars.
There were 100 electric guitars in every song.
Because we got really excited about electric guitar.
It is a jumbled mess.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
But no, what? Come on. I would say that it is the record. The record is called
Y'all are spinning different narratives.
and it is for sure a jumbled.
Wait, what's
mess.
It called?
All the Answers.
Okay, cool.
And it managed to get all of our itch to like do different things.
Like
it kind of compiled, bandy stuff, and it like kind of compiled all that stuff into one record. Like we invited just like 20 of our friends to come to this house that we were recording at in East Tennessee in the mountains, and we recorded for 2 weeks in the mountains, just like making this weird record with all of our friends. That were all, like,
was this during the summer?
It was during
you were at
winter
school.
break. It was during winter break.
Yeah.
So y'all went there for like Christmas.
we went there. It was after Christmas. So the way that our college worked was they
Union,
had
right?
they had a
Yeah.
they had a January term.
Oh wow, cool.
And pardon us if we're distancing ourselves from Union a little bit. Union has done some kind of shithead stuff recently that we're not trying to talk about.
Oh, okay, okay.
But when we
I didn't even realize.
they have a Jan term, so like school in January is optional, and so a lot of like us and then our friends took January off, went to this house in the mountains and made this record. And that was really like the first chance that we had to like work. We had a friend that was like producing it, but it was really like us producing it, and he was sitting behind the boards, which he was amazing.
Like engineering in retrospect, more of.
Yes.
I see.
And he was
awesome. He had a lot of ideas too.
awesome.
He helped a lot.
And I think that after
Totally.
that was when we started doing a lot more a lot more kind of like overreaching bandy stuff. Like how every live show we had a bazillion people in our band. It would be different every single time. We would sometimes teach people the songs, we sometimes wouldn't, and we just kind of go. And I remember that being very like freeing in some ways and really exciting in some ways. And some of those songs are some of the most, as far as songwriting goes, are some of the most like immediate songs that we've ever written. And I think that they resonated with, you know, the crowd that we were in, which is like admittedly a small college group of people, you know,
Right.
like it resonated with those people enough to where it kind of spurred us on to like rethink what we were doing. So after we made that record, then we made an EP with our friend Quinn Redmond, who you know,
Yes.
he's producing Jack Thompson. He's the greatest. He's a great producer. We made an EP with him in 2012 called Resist, and then toured on that for a while. And then we changed our name to Flyco, because the Flying Colors band contacted us and gave us a cease and desist. So.
Okay, can they do that? We were just talking about that a few episodes ago. Can people do that to you? I mean, are two bands allowed to have the same name?
The way I remember it was that it was like some managerial person asking very nicely, and us being like, "Yes, anything. Yes, take anything."
Yeah, right.
We didn't.
That's what we did with Paper Maps. That was Joseph Marlowe's name, and then a Canadian band was said they would like. They told us to change. We were just like, oh, like immediately we were just like, yes, no problem.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't think any of us were attached. It was like an album that I thought of when I was like 13. It was a band name that I thought of when I was like 13. I had no emotional attachment to it at all.
Flyco is pretty sick anyway.
So we just decided, to
whatever
to squish it up into a band called Flyco, and then we got two other people in the band, which is our younger brother Thomas. And
who's the best musician?
Austin.
Who's the greatest musician to ever live?
Yeah, Thomas Griffith is the best musician in Nashville and in the world.
Let me rephrase. He's the most talented musician to ever live.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and he and Austin lent a lot of like really cool
Austin
stuff.
Austin, dude.
Austin is brilliant and also like knows how to think about
person
music
of
so
all
much
time,
and so sweet. Yeah, they added so much.
And so it was in that time, and starting in I guess like 2015, that we started doing like Flyco stuff, and we were making new songs, and we were playing shows, and then out of all of that stuff, Jay and I went on tour with a couple of different bands, and we're gone kind of a lot, but we're still like every time we would come back, we would like to think about different ways to approach our band, and after all of that,
were you all on tour together? Or different bands? Like different people?
On tour together
sometimes. It would be together.
What band was this? Pharaoh?
Pharaoh. Yeah. I was with Pharaoh for a while.
Jay was with Pharaoh for years, and I joined in for 1 year and did a Europe tour I played bass with him for a year. And we did a couple of we did a Europe tour and then like a small US
couple
thing.
shows.
How much tour? Oh, European?
Yeah, it was in the UK and in
oh my goodness.
And in it was in England and Scotland. That's what it was.
What?
And it was really fun.
Crazy.
And that's one of the most fun things that I've ever done.
Who else did you tour with?
And I was miserable.
Yeah, Jay was miserable. That was when we we're kind of going fast now, but like, so this is like in between
That's the transition.
like the EP and then like
and then we
when
toured
Flyco
Europe
became
with a member
thing.
of Paramore, and then keep it going.
Well, I'm just saying that's the transition to where we've realized
where we
Rob really
decided what
likes
we
this.
wanted. Yeah, which basically we had to come to terms with the fact that I really liked playing shows. It was very fun for me and really fulfilling. No matter what, like it was just always like pretty fun for me. And it was very not fun for Jay. Like,
Yeah,
especially
really?
because I think before that Jay had just got. But when we got on the UK tour, that was right after Jay had just gotten done with like a bazillion show long tour.
you're saying that. You realize you're saying that to Nordista Freeze, who knows a thing or two about some long. Tours.
I wonder
You're
how
right.
many dates was it?
This
No,
was
you're
not
right.
that
It's
long.
not
This
even
was
close to a
this
Nordista
was
Freeze tour.
maybe 3 months.
Whatever, dude. That's pretty insane.
Which,
I've
that's
never done
long.
a 3-month tour.
It was probably
and
2.5 months.
It was on and off.
Sick.
It was on and off for 3 months. And I remember talking to Jay because I was teaching public school at that point. Because I had gotten married and moved to Jackson, and I was teaching public school.
Oh,
And Jay was
okay.
on tour, and I remember I would talk to him on the phone every couple of weeks or something, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I saw this video, and I saw this, and it looks so cool. Like, are you having so much fun?" And every time Jay would just be like, "I cannot wait to be done with this," like.
Well, interesting.
And,
Were you like, man, we should switch places because I wish I was out there, or did you not want to be out there either?
I think that I didn't know how much I wanted to until I was asked to join that band, and then
Really?
we got to go together, and me and Jay got to, Quinn Redden was in that band too. And so what happened
wow.
was that we did that tour in the UK, and me and Jay and Quinn wangled it so that we could stay in the UK for 2 or 3 extra days
Oh,
after
wangled
the
it?
tour ended. Well, that's not a
I just
word,
never
but
heard that word before.
we made it happen so that we could stay a few extra days and work on some recording with just me and Jay and Quinn. And that
Wow,
was
that's
when, and so
insane, dude.
it was after
That
that.
is the turn.
So
when I was
it
like,
was
oh.
after that tour, and we stayed in England and started recording what ended up being the first song on the Flyco record, which is called "Ordinary Magic Powers." We recorded that one on a boat.
I see.
in
Oh, wow.
England.
Are you, what?
Yeah, isn't that
I had
What
a
year was
voice.
this?
I had like a voice memo on my phone that was just the chorus to the song,
This is in 2016.
My goodness.
and then
This is crazy.
there was like a studio on a boat that we recorded in, and we just knocked out most of the song, other than like drums, in a couple days.
Okay, wait. I have a question, or I have a couple questions. So can I need to fill some holes. So up until 2015 is the year y'all graduated, right?
Yeah.
Because in that "And the Boys" song, he says, "This is for the boys back in 2015."
Yeah.
And I always
Nice.
thought that was, I guess, a reference to y'all or something, which I
Yeah,
think is cool.
That's us.
So up until that point, y'all have been together like your whole lives too, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's just like us and our brothers and our friends, it's just
Yeah.
people we've been very close to.
but like you two specifically, have like, were y'all, I'm guessing, just like roommates in college and just like
Uh,
living together?
We were for some of it.
We
A
were for
couple
some
years
of
roommates.
college. But even we weren't like I don't know, had a lot of the same friends and stuff, and we were always making music together. So like,
Even if it
Right.
wasn't our music specifically, we have always, I think since probably 10th grade, we were playing in someone's band. Like,
yeah.
just because, first of all, every single person that we knew in 10th grade had a band, and every single person in 10th grade was going to be super famous. And
I
Yeah, 'cause
totally
they were
agree.
They were all
And-
very good.
Yeah, right.
They were all very good. Like, and it was very fun for us to just, because they were just like, well, we need people that know how to play instruments. So do you guys just want to like hang? And so
Were y'all like
we
a
did-
package deal back then?
No.
In high school, was it like, oh, we'll get Rob and Jay?
well, yeah, I guess because we shared a car, but like,
Yeah,
other
and it was
than
a
And
that-
they're
useful
both so
thing.
talented. It's like, dude, if it was friends y'all in high school, like, I would have more the merrier. Like, both y'all are so talented and can do BGVs and everything. It's just like,
It might have been like a fun sort of stage symmetry thing. Like, oh, we can do that'll be funny.
it was aesthetically pleasing. Yeah,
Just two
yeah,
drummers that look the
people will
same.
think this is hilarious.
it was a prank. I see. So wait, okay, so y'all went to school in Jackson, and then when y'all graduated,
Jay
And-
moved to Nashville.
you moved to Nashville to like pursue music like more than Rob? Like, was that like I'm going to Nashville now? Rob's like, well, I'm going to be a teacher now.
Yeah. So I moved to Nashville and was like, I guess, pursuing music. It was kind of accidental. I moved back to Nashville because I was still, when I would come home from college, I would work at the climbing gym.
Climb Nashville?
Yeah, and that kind of became like my other home. And then so when we moved back, I was like,
I had no idea.
I'll do more stuff with climbing gym, and I, so I was like working there a lot, and then playing shows a lot. So, but it kind of happened accidentally. It happened that I guess we had moved back here. Hillary was working at where was
Belmont.
She? Well, this is just before Belmont, but she was working at a daycare just before Belmont. That was so we had moved back, and Quinn texted me like, "Hey, my friend Josh really needs a keyboardist on tour. Like, do you play music? Like, do you still play music that's not yours?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." So that was how
incredible.
started touring with Pharaoh.
And with Quinn the whole time too.
Well, we had been friends with Quinn since early high school. Quinn used to run a music, which was actually a pretty sick event. Like, I wish it would still happen. When Quinn was a freshman in high school, so 2006?
2011? Oh, never mind. Is he older than y'all?
No, he's 2007.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Then he started a quarterly massive show in Brentwood that he would get just like 5 or 6 of his friends that all played in wildly professional sounding bands, or at least like to us at the time. I think me and Jay were the first time we were invited to like have our band play at those. That was the first time that we got there, and we were like, "Oh shit, these guys are so good! Like, everybody here is so good."
What was this called?
It was called Narthex.
Wow, in Brentwood?
It was in Brentwood, Tennessee. Yeah. So it's all Franklin and Brentwood bands, which means that 9 out of 10 of them are all screamo. And
screamo / pop punk.
No, that's not true. It wasn't all that, but they definitely had like a lot of like guys that somehow were able to afford like amps that were like 6 foot tall amps and stuff, and and just like all this crazy stuff. And me and Jay would roll up, and Taylor, we would roll up, and we would be like, "So we have a bass and we have a Yamaha keyboard and drums," and they're like, "Okay, cool. So do you guys have any like amps?" I'm like, "No, this is just gonna be piano and bass and drums on this one," or like something like that. Yeah, right. And we would play basically so like
cool.
we'd play just
our like soft boy,
like just kind of like medieval sounding pop kind of stuff, and it was a big relief for like a lot of the people in the audience that like were not there to see some of like the harder stuff. So we would like go after just like some of the hardest bands ever, who like a lot of those bands have ended up doing like incredible things. Like there's like Better Off.
Oh gosh, so good.
Like Better Off played at those all the time, and they've gone on to make just some amazing records. And
cool.
And I remember like us being in there playing music that was a wildly different style than everybody else at that point, and that being like at first very like we were like very ashamed, and then like after like one show of doing that and getting like some positive reinforcement on that, it was almost like a badge of honor, like a thing where like every show in high school we'd be like, "All right, for every show you guys get louder, we're gonna get softer. We're gonna have less and less instruments," and we
sick,
like
dude.
And we just start playing just like the quieter and quieter music. It was
so
pretty
cool.
lame. But it was fun.
No, dude, that sounds awesome. So when did you get I this is like an ongoing question. I feel like with y'all, it's like, was there ever a time? Is there still a time? I never know y'all's relationship with music quite definably. And so like,
neither do I, dude.
This kind of feels weird to ask because I still don't really even know in the present moment. Like back when y'all were in college and like when you moved to Nashville, was there this sense of like, I'm a musician first, or like I'm pursuing music, or has it always? Because like y'all always seem to somehow juggle like life and a job, and like from my perspective, y'all are always like simultaneously doing so many things and filling so many roles as people and
Yeah.
musicians. So when you went to Nashville and you're touring with somebody who's really cool. I mean, like a member of Paramore, that's from my reductive perspective. I'm not familiar with music, but person to person, it's like, whoa, that's a huge deal. And then you're teaching, but then you quit teaching, because how did you not teach and then go on tour? You must just quit your job.
I did. I
did
quit my job after I quit my job after the year ended, and moved back to Nashville to do some of those tours. But then also, that was
Because we started writing.
That was when we
Forever.
were writing the Flyco record, Artists Forever. Jay and I started writing that together, demoing it out. And Jay lives in a pretty small house in on 12th South area. And he didn't really have room for his music stuff. And I lived in Inglewood, and I had a slightly bigger house just because I lived a little bit more out there. And so I was able to take all of Jay's and all of Austin's and all of Thomas's musical equipment and keep all of that at my house in Nashville. Cool. And so we had for the first time ever, I mean, since college, since high school, really, that was the first time that we'd ever had for lack of a better term, kind of a studio, like a writing studio. Totally. And that was when the five of us really hammered out the arrangements of those songs that eventually became Artists Forever, that record.
Was that a big deal for you, moving to Nashville and doing that? Were you I'm moving back to Nashville to do music, to do this?
No, because me and Jay because we grew up in Nashville, and there was absolutely not one thing that was special about that city to us at that point.
Wow.
It was just where we grew up and where we spent all of our time. And we're oh, everywhere must be like this, which is not true. But I think that I don't think that I, at the time, thought that there was anything special about moving to Nashville
or even being in a band, really.
No, because I was yeah, of course I am. Everybody's in a
yeah, right. Okay. That makes a little bit of sense to me.
And so that was probably good for knowing our place in being able to figure out where we fit into the grand scheme of things, which is to say taking up a very, very small portion of it. Dude, it was we're able to see, but I'm just saying we're able to see the the stuff that we were making in the broader context of a lot of Nashville artists that were making very cool and very exciting things. And that didn't really take away from, or in my mind, it didn't take away from the stuff that we were making at all. It really kind of made me feel more special that it was that we were just a small cog in the machine that is the creativity in Nashville.
Okay, that's interesting. So I guess whenever I first remember, aside from when we were in y'all were in Brady's band and I was in Joe's Marlowe, when I first I think remember meeting y'all, if I could be wrong, was at Belia Jam.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I don't think I was there.
It's just you.
I remember because I videoed your set and I immediately sent it to Rob hey, I just found your new favorite musical artist.
Wow, cool.
And he was right, but it wasn't Nordista Freeze, it was Future Chris.
Oh
no, I'm just kidding. No, it was
too true, dude.
No, it was both. It was both, but I do remember that he did send me videos of both of you.
I think I sent
bands.
you. I think I was because I remember
that was
where I saw Nordista Freeze. I saw Future Crib. I saw Devin. I can't remember.
Devin Badgett.
What's his?
Vanosdale.
I saw all of those bands being oh man.
That's cool.
They're still doing it.
Cool.
People are still doing it. Yeah, and I think
so
that and Jay sent me videos of definitely of Freeze and Future Crib, and I remember being oh, cool. I'm so glad that people are making bands still and making music and really caring about it and making it definitely significantly cooler than how we were when we were doing it. There seemed to be much more of an identity in the stuff that you were making And that spoke to us pretty immediately.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Well,
yeah, I remember that.
that's
It was
one.
at Belaya Jam.
Yeah.
Why were you
Belaya
at
Jam.
Belaya Jam, Jay? Were you playing in
I
a
was
band?
there. No.
Were you just hanging out with Asher?
I was there with Asher, and Thomas was playing some songs with Asher. So I was just watching Thomas and Asher play.
That's right. Oh, cool. I can't believe it. So, and then we wound up, I guess, continuing to know each other because we played some shows together.
Mhm.
I suppose. I think one. Okay, I remember playing Sweater Fest and like just general mild mag Jackson, Tennessee, like
Yeah, that was
yeah.
so
getting
fun.
connected through stuff like that. But I mean, I guess the show I'm thinking of is in Murfreesboro. We played at the Kirkwood House together, right?
Yes.
I think we did a couple of times, but the first time was just, I think that Flyco at that point was, even at that, we had never really gotten out of the habit of every single show was a different lineup. And I don't know why we did that.
For real.
But we really never stopped doing that from 2007 to 2019. Literally every single show that we ever played was just different people, whatever. But
until
that
the
show,
end, until the funeral.
yeah, until the funeral. Yeah. And then it was a bazillion different people. That was awesome. But that show that we met you at was a Christmas show.
It was just us brothers, right?
And Flyco was just me and Jay and Thomas.
It was a 3-piece at the
it was a 3-piece, just us 3 brothers.
And because I remember I kept being like, I've still never heard this whole band. Y'all like, oh, we're missing a couple. I'm like, who is in this band? I don't know. Because
that might have also been a bit.
One of the memories I have, I think that's really special to me is when we played that show. It was called like Bandstand or something. It was like this like old music store or venue that had become like a Christian youth room or something.
Yeah,
was it in Nashville or in Jackson?
No, it was in Jackson, and y'all were a 2-piece.
And, oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember. That was fun.
And the Skeleton Crew played, and that was the first time I really remember like getting to talk to y'all a little bit more. And I remember y'all played an And the Boys song. I think you guys played $1,000 Bill.
Yeah, for
probably.
Sure.
And I was flipping out because I didn't realize how close of a connection y'all were to each other. And I loved And the Boys. I found And the Boys because they applied to play Freeze Fest 3. So I heard their SoundCloud link, and then it was just like, I love this band. And then I get there, and y'all are playing this song. I was like, they know this band. But I loved that set. And I remember afterwards, one of y'all's wives, I can't remember anymore because at this point I didn't know the difference between the two of you. So some of my oldest memories in my file bank, it's just Rob/Jay.
Yeah, for sure.
One of y'all, your wife told me that you thought that I was a genius.
Yeah, that was,
and that I was going to be performing on like Letterman within the year,
or
Fallon or something.
that was me because I did say that.
Jay? That's cool. I remember that like made my entire life. I just felt so affirmed for so long. That compliment, like I'll never forget that. That meant so much to me.
Man, that's so good.
And anyone who saw that probably would have felt that way. Anyone who was at that bandstand show, which I can count them on 2 hands.
Yeah, it was a pretty small crowd, but I just remember freaking out. That was one of those times when they gave me too much room. The stage was too big, and I was just running like crazy and diving around. Yeah, man. We had a lot of good memories briefly there, getting to know each other through that. And then I feel like just pretty quickly, it was the Flyco funeral, and it was the end of Flyco.
That was the end of 2018 because we had decided, and like we hadn't really talked about it like publicly, I guess. Not that like anybody's, I was like clamoring for info, but like we had decided pretty early on when we were making that record that
was going to kind of be it.
That was going to be it. And that's kind of what the record was about. It was this like very egotistical record about being egotistical and whatever.
Which joke's on us because even all the music we've written after that, same subject matter. So,
oh man.
Well, okay. So the band, which I just got to briefly say, that was one of the sickest shows ever. It was at like an email marketing.
Yeah. It's probably the best night of my whole life.
Emma, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it was a circle and everyone was on outside and everybody who was performing was on the inside circle. And so you could kind of just like walk around.
Yeah. And just see everyone while we were playing. That was really, really fun.
At that show, I think during like an LCD Sound System song, they were playing maybe All My Friends.
Yeah, because Brady from Man the Boys was singing it, and
That's right.
Yeah,
It was an
really fun.
all-star night. I hope. Did anyone film that night? Or
So
audio recording?
no, and my dad has never ever forgiven us for that. We have a lot of like little clips of it, but because I think that was right. It was right when people were like starting to use stories on Instagram a lot, so everybody would like film little stories of it and stuff, and so we have all those. But
That's cool.
that was one of the more meaningful nights to us, because that was also kind of where I think, well, because during that whole year making the record was me and Jay kind of coming to terms with like what it was we wanted, like what it was we wanted to do, what it was we wanted to be. I guess Jay should be here for this. I'm getting kind of deep now, but
yeah, right.
but
He's out.
Like I think that we had just come to terms with the fact that like I don't know that like the band thing was as important to us as like just generally making music with our friends, and in some ways the band part of it actually inhibited that, because we had spent so much time working on these songs and writing them and making them fun and exciting and meaningful to us, but everything had just taken so long, because we would take months and months and months out of every year to play with other groups and other bands and other and work on other projects, even things outside of music, just different art stuff that me and Jay have been doing. And being able to like come to terms with the fact that that other stuff we were doing was kind of more meaningful to us than the band thing itself. I think that that's why the Flyco funeral looked the way that it did, because it was almost like, so we did this band thing for like 10, 12 years, and it was very fun. But the best part about it was that we got to like hang out and play music with our friends. And so that's why the Flyco funeral was just like getting just like so many friends up to like play music together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so is that band ending, was that like a statement, or was that a sort of transition into like a new idea of y'all's relationship with music and with a musical career?
Totally.
It was
long, like a super freaking long story is basically, hopefully that like helps to explain what Real Sword
why Real Sword is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying this story, like the story of your career and like Flyco.
Yeah. It's about like, it was never about like, it wasn't, it's what, like when you get to the end of a Disney movie and it's like, the magic was in you all along.
Yeah,
it's that where it's like, oh wait,
but
it was about hanging. Right. Yes, exactly. It's the inverse. It is like, oh wait, the magic was in like doing this with other people that you wanted to be doing that with,
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what Real Sword is always like meant to foster.
Yeah.
So Real Sword started was it immediately following Flyco funeral?
Yeah, it was the day after Flyco funeral that Real Sword Collective started. And
it's the first thing to kick it off was a departure sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the way of like making the statement of having like these small gatherings at Cheyenne Metter's studio where like 4 bands would play these like acoustic nights. They were all so special.
Just like
that was so
crammed in. Yeah, that's some of the best memories of my life for sure.
I wish we could have more of those. What were you planning on doing more before COVID, or is it just kind of?
Yes.
Yeah. Volume 2.
That would be cool. Are we ever gonna get the music? I know there were some recorded tracks. Are they gonna come out?
Yes.
Cool.
We
ran into some legal.
There were some complications that we are working through, but yes. And also, I'm thinking what may happen is, this isn't fun for like podcast listeners, but we are gonna we are probably just gonna like send you your stuff also, just to have, in case you want to listen to it.
I have heard it once. I got it in one email one time. Song, and it sounded really cool.
It does sound good.
I remember because it was the first time you played Fight Song, and it was like,
yeah, that's right.
Or first time I'd heard you play Fight Song.
Yeah, and in the end, I'm pretty sure you can hear Jay going, "Whoa!" whoa, like on the track. Those nights were really fun. I came to like I think 3 of them, and just had so much fun. And
That was cool.
so following that, at that point, y'all were both still living in Nashville, maybe?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was when we were doing the.
Actually, Rob, you may have already been gone.
I think, yeah, you're right. I lived in Jackson. I moved back to Jackson at that point, but I was making a lot of trips back and forth because I was playing with some other bands. I was playing with Riley Moore. I was playing guitar for him and keyboards, and
Cool.
and then I was also playing with Rocky Pora. I was playing some different instruments.
That's
for
right.
him. So
Man,
I was
y'all,
back in
that's
town all the
insane.
time.
Cool. Okay, so wow, that's incredible. Man, Rocky Pora rules, and so does Riley Moore. Y'all y'all know so many great people, which I know is part of what I get it. Like, I mean, that's your
a
story, you
compliment.
know.
Yeah, that's like exactly what I'm hoping for.
Just like 2 Horus Slughorns.
So, okay, so I guess that about brings us to the present. I mean, since then it's been Real Sword, and
Yep.
Real Sword. I feel
the collective.
I'm kind of curious about like, well, the story of Real Sword. Like, since then, like, what is Real Sword becoming? I know right now during quarantine, it's like y'all have started a lot of like kind of like a TV network, which is funny because I actually am doing a very similar thing, but a little bit differently, where I'm creating content that goes on YouTube later, like after it's filmed. Y'all are like doing live streams of like all these cool different things, like DJing and doing like Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and anything in the middle.
It's been very fun.
Did that happen because of COVID, or like were y'all
Yes.
like, we got to get creative and do a COVID style media?
Yeah, because I think before that, the Real Sword Collective had been half about music and then half about art, about visual art. Yeah. We'd done a lot of visual art stuff. We always had art shows at every Real Sword sponsored like concert. It was also kind of an art gallery where we had different people's art up. And then we also made a couple of magazines that had art submitted by different people. And basically like everything physical at COVID needed to stop. And just because, that was when everything was really crazy, and it still is. But we needed to find a way to still be able to hang out with each other and to make stuff with each other, because that's what made us happy, and that is what I think was the most like fulfilling about Real Sword anyway, was being able to still like make stuff together. And so we made the TV network, which is a hilarious way to describe it, but it's really exciting. We there's a couple of new shows on it right now that I'm really excited about. There's a new show that's all about wine that that Kathleen and Campbell have started. It's basically like a visual wine connoisseur podcast where they kind of teach the layman, like who's me who knows nothing about wine. It's just like they kind of like teach people about it like bottle by bottle, and it's really exciting.
That's cool.
And then like me and Jay have our own show where we play music and talk to musicians, and
that's super fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's been one of the best ways for us to like tap into like what I said earlier, with me being more of a music listener, like a music listener first and a music maker second, I think. Then it's been a way for me to most directly tap into that side of like the music that I'm excited about.
I feel like we're almost on the exact same page when it comes to like the Freeze Fest side of me and like the Real Sword side of what y'all do. Like we have very similar ideas of like bringing people together.
That's why we work well together.
And like when I heard about y'all's TV idea, I just couldn't believe how similar it was to like the idea that I had, which was like, I was like, I need to start like basically like a TV network that's just like has ongoing things that people can like tune into. Cause it's I was like, that's what I have to do during COVID, because nothing. I mean, obviously I can't tour, which is my whole life. So there's a big transition. I mean, which by the way, I found out that news at Rob's house basically, because
that's right. You had just played a show at my house, and that was when COVID was starting. And I remember you and me had an extremely existential crisis that night. I remember we talked about it for a long time that night.
And then we got
real
up and
late.
got coffee and talked about it more at
That's right.
at
We
that coffee
did.
shop at Madero. And we were just like, I remember everybody was just like, Riley was there, and we were just like, dude, what's gonna happen? And I was devastated then, and I'm still devastated, but like in a different way. But I remember,
Oh man.
yeah, I remember. I think Tom Hanks got COVID
That's right.
during Riley Moore's set, and Riley Moore was like, "What's up?" And then we were like, "Tom Hanks has COVID," and everybody was like, "Oh." And then like during our set or something, somebody was like, "NBA's canceled," and we were like, "No, actually happening." It's terrifying. Which is
Except for that was
devastating.
early on, so we were still calling it coronavirus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
right. I
We
don't
didn't
really
even
know.
know the word COVID.
Yeah, I don't really
even
know
know
what
that.
happened. I don't know the narrative of that transition, but yes, I do recall that. That night was like one of the last fond memories I had. After that, we went on tour to Mississippi, and we actually had like 4 great shows after that, where like Impending Doom was happening. Trump is like talking on, like making it a state of emergency, but we're like still on tour. It was pretty wild for like 4 days there
Yeah.
before it caught up to us what we were doing and how we needed to quit. But
And it was especially wild for you, I feel like, because your whole band was all people from different states and different like parts of the country. And
Yes.
so you guys had done so much traveling already that you were like the target for like who is going to get this, this sickness. We're like,
yeah, we were like, we
or
probably
hope
already
Freeze
have
is
it.
okay.
Yeah, right. Totally, dude. That was really freaky.
Yeah.
It still bums me out. I look back fondly on that night though. For some reason, I feel like that was like one of the last like wholesome moments I had before like my whole context got completely flipped for real.
Yeah.
And
It was really fun. It was a
it-
really fun night because we
it
got
was
to hang
really
with
fun.
Riley and we got to hear him like at the beginning of him, writing those new songs, and me and Jay
Yeah.
played a set of our music, which we hardly ever do.
That was
Yeah.
so
and like,
cool.
and I remember us doing it and being like, oh, well, that actually went pretty well,
Yeah. The skeptics say that Rob and Jay and Flyco will just continue. It'll just continue to evolve and continue to play. But I think they don't quite understand the transition. I think I get how it was a band and now y'all play music, but it's not as like you're not taking it as seriously. You're not like trying to make it as Rob and Jay, but you're still like being creative.
Yeah.
Right? Is that a fair?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we both. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I just like knew for a fact for that whole last year of FICO, like I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to like do the artist thing where you travel and play shows because I am not built for it. Like,
But you
there are
still like
people
putting
who are
out
built for it.
songs.
But I love that. I love sitting at home
And playing
making
occasionally.
songs. And playing occasionally, especially if I'm at my house or my brother's house. Yes. that part
Yeah,
is
right.
If I get Jay to play a show not at our houses, which I do all the time, and I can convince him to do that, but like when I do that, it is because I have asked him to do it. It is not because Jay's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play this show,
Right.
Can't
I
play
see
this
what you
show.
mean. I see what you mean. Okay.
Or I'll drag Jay out if I'm doing a DJ set. Then I will make Jay come and do the dancing so that I can do all the work behind the boards and Jay can just stand beside me and like just dance.
Do y'all remember that night, dude, at Freeze Fest 5 when we were
Yes,
just
one
at
of the
1
most
in the
fun-
morning? Just,
One of the most fun things I've ever done. And
That
and
was
I really it was the late night crowd that was left, and I didn't know anyone except for you and Sma. And other than that, it was a bunch of people that I had never seen in my life.
I was shaking tents, waking people up. People were like already in bed. And I was
Yeah, because it was like
DJ time,
3
DJ
a.m.
time.
It was so late. And,
yeah, that was crazy.
And I remember that we started the first song, and that like big garage we were in was like half full. And then by the time we were in like the third song, which is when it was like getting pretty like hyper, then it was full again. Like the place was full again. And everybody was in there, like it just got so sweaty. And I remember being like,
sweaty,
oh
dude.
man, I could do this all the time. And I'm sure Jay was thinking the exact opposite of that. But that was definitely something that I was just like super stoked on the whole time. That was so fun. I actually
was a really fun
uploaded
night.
that whole set that I did. I recorded it.
No
and
way.
I uploaded it to my SoundCloud, and so now I have the whole Freeze Fest.
It's just called
DJ set.
Freeze Fest 5 DJ set. Like we can find it on there. That's
yeah, it's
sick.
on SoundCloud. Yeah, it's
Cool. Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
That's so cool.
Quick, Jay,
Okay.
talk about something fun.
Quick, Jay, talk about something. Oh, I see where you're pulling it up. Well, I do actually have a question for Jay. So like with Real Sword going forward, do you guys have I'm curious because like since this TV programming is a quarantine idea, and I guess we don't know how long quarantine is going to go, but
Yeah.
I feel like Real Sword is continuing to evolve pretty drastically. Like, I mean, I think even when it first started, I thought it was a record label. So at least my understanding of it is like continue to shift a lot. What is it? Is there a place like 3-5 years from now that y'all are trying to get to, or is it just is the whole thing the point of being adaptable to the present moment? And you know what I mean?
Well, while that is a big part of it, when we first started, the whole thing was we know the idea, right? It's like what we talked about. It's like we know if we want to hang out, we want to do events, and the main thing is that we want to get all these amazing people to meet each other and play in each other's bands. And if that was the mission, I feel like we
Mission accomplished.
mission accomplished so far. But
Right.
that was like, if that is the sort of like the overarching vision, then we kind of started out being like, let's just try everything.
Yeah.
And then whatever we like doing, we'll keep doing that stuff. And whatever we don't like doing, we'll stop doing that stuff. And so the record label part of it was a part of that deal. We were like, we could do that. That doesn't sound that hard. It is hard. It's hard.
But being a label?
Yes.
I don't even know what a label is. Like, I still just have no idea. Like, you help
same.
with promotion and distribution and you give bands money maybe, which I thought y'all were going to give me a bunch of money. That's why I was interested.
Sure.
Oh, I was wondering why I still had all that disposable income. I was supposed to give it to Freeze.
Yes.
We were just going to try a bunch of things. So we ended up trying a whole bunch of stuff that is not going to continue, but then we tried a whole bunch of stuff that we were like, okay, this is like every time we would do an event, like a Real Sword event, we'd always be like, oh man, this is it. Like, this is the thing, which, RIP, but
RIP events in general.
Right.
Sorry,
and so that part, that part ended up being like a part that we wanted to stick around. And maybe that's why this RSTV thing is, kind of becoming more on, I think RSTV will stick around after COVID, even if it looks different.
Yeah, because it's a way to actively engage with friends.
Yeah, it's just because fun to hang out with you.
Like when me and Jay are doing our show, which some people watch our show live, some people watch it after the fact, just like on Twitch, on the replay on Twitch, like weeks later or whatever. But when we record live, there is what has turned into a steady group of people that is there there is a core group of people that is there every single week.
They're great.
They're always there. They're actively engaged, and it is like us. And it's not because like we are cool guys. No. It's just because it's like a real way to hang out. Like it's an actual way to hang out. And a lot of those people, some of them, first of all, I should say, some of them I literally do not know who they are because everybody's using usernames in Twitch and have no idea who they are. But I know for a fact that a lot of them don't know each other IRL, but they have grown to know each other on this Twitch channel, on our stupid
That's really cool
radio show. And it's like, if we can do that kind of thing, then then that is always going to come before whatever it is that we are making, whatever it is creatively that we're making, whether that's like another magazine or like some visual art or like an album, the album that me and Jay are working on or something like that. Like it's like, that's always going to kind of be the most like immediate way to like fulfill what it is that we are excited about, is like getting people to really be able to hang.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but basically we threw a lot of idea spaghetti at the wall, and
this distribution was one for a while too. That you're helping everyone with distribution.
Yes, that is one of the things
that was so much work.
Freaking doing that anymore.
Oh, so much work.
Well, first of all, because, and I shouldn't say it like that, because the reasoning behind not doing it anymore was like, I found out that other people do that better than us, and so for us to do that would be like, okay, I would be like actively telling people, listen, you're going to have a better experience if you do it if you like
Okay.
to these people or these people. Then I was like, okay, well, why are we doing it then? You know?
Yeah, right.
We're not, if like the point is to help people. Yeah. Anyway, and plus we were just spreading ourselves too thin, I think.
It also just that particular opportunity just fell through too. So it's
yes. Well,
really
that changed it a lot. I forgot about that. The like partnership we had going.
We don't need to say
I don't want to
names.
put them on blast, but like
yeah, right.
Yeah,
it was a company. Like, it was a big company.
When it was a company that we were working with, when that relationship broke bad, then like we were kind of like, man, do we even like this anyway?
Right.
So, kind of moving away from that stuff, moving more into like content creation.
Yes,
the stuff that we're doing now, and
right, it really is. It's content creation mixed with like community.
Yes,
boy,
it's community content creation. That's it. Thank
community
you for giving
content
us that,
creation
because
sounds a lot less slimy than just content creation. Content creation sounds yucky. That sounds like bad. That sounds like a thing that yucky boys do, and that's not what we're doing.
Yucky boys. So that is part of
something that YouTubers do.
The evolution, and then the other part of it is like, for a while it was like, I mean, that was the mantra. It was helping Nashville do art, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And now that quarantine has started and we have moved into this other realm where I feel like we're working with people who live all over, plus several of our Nashville people are now dispersing to other states.
Who? Can I ask? Oh,
well, no, it's probably okay. But like,
I mean, no, tons of people. I mean,
like tons of people,
like double-digit people.
Yeah,
man,
who either have
are leaving Nashville
or are leaving.
Yeah, like a lot of the Real Sword crew who are kind of dispersing, and we realized like, I think and Rob and I live in Jackson, you know, so it's like, let's go ahead and take that moniker off and kind of expand to just like more just be online, which sounds cool to me. It's more accessible. It's more like, that's kind of more personal to everyone. So
totally.
That's
I've totally like understand that. Like forever I've been trying to do more stuff online, and quarantine's finally helping me actually do it, because I've realized more and more, I'm like, man, I'm on tour, and then I'll do these things like Space Prom and Freeze Fest, and people come from 15 different states. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, for real, like the actual numbers are outrageous of how many people are coming from out of town, because my homies live in all those places now. So sometimes I'm like, man, doing these physical events in Nashville, as dope as it is, it's like, I need to do more stuff online, or even like doing my
aside about Space Prom. The absolute most powerful I have ever felt in my entire life was walking on stage at Space Prom in a silly outfit with my brother and singing Bee Gees with you. Was
twice now.
Was the absolute strongest and most powerful I've ever felt.
Yes, man. So wait, we did How Deep Is Your Love year 1, then year 2 was More Than a Woman.
Yes. Oh man, More Than a
Woman slammed. Yeah, that was good.
That was one of those things where I was like, man, we had such a good thing going. I just wanted to do it again a second time. I was like, I want Bee Gees with Rob and Jay. That's awesome, dude. Space Prom was, if touring never came back, and you know, that would probably be like the greatest show I ever played. Like that was the biggest highlight of my life, getting to play the most recent Space Prom. At the Basement East.
Dude, before the Basement East got leveled.
Yeah, dude, I cannot believe that was in 2020. That there was a Space Prom of a sold out 575 people inside of the Basement East, which both that gathered, like, that just is impossible for multiple reasons. And but yeah, like doing stuff like that, people come from all over, and then it's like, I think that's special, and I'm glad to have that.
Totally.
But I'm always saying, like, man, I need to do more stuff online, because I feel like people are going to get tired of me just posting tour dates, you know what I mean? Or just being like, come to Nashville. And I want to keep connecting with those people. And so I think quarantine has, like, for, I guess y'all and for me, it's been like a timely transition to be like, well, you know, I needed to work more on this online stuff that isn't really natural, at least for me, to want to do that. But here I am, and I'm happy because of it. And I think it's really cool what y'all are doing with RSTV. So,
Yeah.
but still to finish the question though, which I know I've held you longer than I said I would, so we can wrap it up pretty soon. But I am just curious,
Don't worry about
as kind of a final question, I suppose, is like, what is the future of Real Sword? Like, is there a vision for that?
Yeah.
Years down the
So
road?
my vision for it right now is like I'm using the word built as if we had anything to do with it, but we have accumulated like this network of people who are all so like talented / passionate in different ways. And I love the idea of the Real Sword Collective of being a place where like you can explore passion and talent. So like whether that's, whether that means like your writing or your music, whether you have like a place to collaborate with people or a place to just like get stuff heard, like that is what I like for us to be. So right now we're building out, we're like kind of like planning out and building out our website to, and I'm hoping not that people love like websites anymore, but not if they're not on.
Can I get to it from my TikTok?
Can I get to it from a TikTok? Yeah. But we're trying to like build that out, just kind of make a channel, and then probably a YouTube channel to get stuff collected, to where people like we can collect all of the things from these different artists, where it's easier to find them,
Right.
and where it's easier for artists to meet each other and to have like this little mutual connection with Real Sword, to be like, well, I can probably reach out to them because we both know the Real Sword people,
Yeah.
Which has already
That's
happened
been
in some
it's so
fairly
fulfilling
major
to
ways.
me. Yeah.
Like just to see like the fruit that has come out of that, not only with, I mean, most importantly, just with friendships, because I think that's the most important part. But
Totally.
but also like as long as we're talking hard numbers, folks, then I think that like there are some actual like pieces of art, whether audio or visual, that have come out specifically because people connected through this idea. And some of those like pieces of art are like some of like my favorite things that I know about, they're like some things that I can come back to, and I think that is as fulfilling, if not more, than anything that we have ever
creative
gotten
endeavor,
like from making something. Although that is also still amazing and fun, and I love to do that. And we're still making stuff together, but that's not going to be. I'm not sure that that's ever going to be the main thing anymore.
Yes. Okay. That answer is is frustratingly vague.
This pleases me. Yes.
I still feel like I have no idea what the answer to my question was, but
honestly,
I feel like that's just what it is. Is that it's just like
it's a little bit vague. It's malleable, and it is like, we're gonna do the TV thing, and hopefully we'll be able to do events again one day, because that is it's so
that's the lifeblood for sure.
That is like that's like the heart of it,
right?
Or that's at least the most viscerally you can feel what is happening. Like at that like, did you come Freeze? You were at the what we labeled as the biggest release party ever. Did you go to that?
Oh, that was one with like Future Crib, Rocky Pora, and
Bloodroot.
Bloodroot, yeah. I think I had a show that night.
Probably on tour.
I'm sure you literally always have a show.
I was very frustrated, but that looked amazing.
I remember that night, like it was one of the first event. It was like maybe the third or fourth event we ever did as Real Sword. And I remember that happening, and did we sell it out? Did we sell out Mercy?
Sold out Mercy.
And I remember like
that's incredible. Wait, High Watt or Mercy Lounge?
Or no, High Watt. Sorry,
it was High Watt.
Still, that's crazy.
And I say we sold it out. Me and Jay had very little to do with that, but like, but High Watt sold out, and like there are all these people that like that really came because they had just become friends, and like they were like, all right, can't wait to like hang out and like listen to this music that my new friend is making. It's like
That's
that
cool,
kind of
man.
stuff where it's like all these people that were from kind of a lot of different walks of life, and a lot of different like ages too. I mean, there's like
Right.
old people, like, I mean, we're 28, and it's like there would be people that were like older than us, like, but then there were also like a lot of like younger people too, and I just
Man.
thought that was so fun and cool.
That's so special, man. That's everything. I know what you mean. Like when I look out at like a Freeze Festival or whatever, I'm like, man, like this is everything. Like I feel a feeling that I don't any other time feel in my heart. I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, I'm so glad everyone's here right now. This is like
Yeah.
so special. you
Yeah.
know?
I think that you and me connected over that during the coldest show of my life, which is Freeze Fest 5. Then I remember like getting there, and as my ears were freezing off, then still like talking to you for a long time about like just how like special that night was. Cause
Yeah.
that was also, I also came there just by myself, like brought nobody with me, like didn't bring, like Carrie wasn't there. I was in town for some music thing. I can't remember what. But like Jay didn't come on that first night. I just like went by myself because I was like, well, all my friends, my Freeze Fest friends are going to be there. And like that ended up being the case. And I remember that being like the coolest thing ever. Just,
Yeah, man.
I think that to be able to actively contribute to like the well-being of an idea and an event is more meaningful to us than anything else. And so that's what was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool, man. That's really
I
special.
just want my friends to be friends with each other.
Yeah, right.
That's the main thing.
Man, that's so cool. I totally relate to that, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm excited to see what y'all do next, and especially with RSTV in the coming season. So I guess closing out, we should just plug that. Is that if people aren't familiar with it, they should follow Real Sword Co. on Instagram.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And check out the Twitch channel as well.
Mm-hmm. Real
That's
Sword
where everything's
Collective
being
on Twitch.
broadcasted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you want to check out me and Jay's show specifically, we do a radio show every Tuesday night. It's a late night radio show from 9 to 11 where we play music and talk to each other. And we usually have special guests that we interview and talk about music. And it's really fun.
We probably should have plugged it at the beginning, but now if people made it this far, then they're for sure going to do that.
Oh,
you
they
know what
are
I mean?
in.
I mean,
If
they're
they've
like
made it
sold.
Nobody's made it this far.
This is the longest podcast ever recorded.
Me and Jay have been talking about ourselves for
It's been awesome, dude.
2 hours. And yeah, I think that at the very least, if people can check out the show and check out the TV network, then we'll have done our job.
I think people will, and I normally ask people who I should have on the show next, but I feel like I
have too many answers for you.
Y'all have too many answers, so I hesitate to even ask. But I hope you guys will keep an open channel whenever you think about somebody, especially if they've got a release coming up or a reason they really need to get on the air and talk for a long time about it. Then you should tell them about this, and so I'm gonna keep doing this every like day or two. So.
Every
Wow.
day. That's
For now, until I burn out. I have, how I am. I go
how
through
you do.
phases. So right now it was like painting, and then now it's doing this. So I literally have 8 more lined up this week to do.
Can we
Freeze,
rewind to
tell-
talk about your
Freeze.
painting?
I would love to, man. Yeah, I've got some paintings that I've been working on.
It's very good, and I love seeing it.
Thank you so much.
It brightens my Instagram life.
You love to see it.
I haven't done it in like 3 or 4 weeks, but I think I'm gonna get back into it tomorrow. It's on my I wrote it down. So
Nice.
yeah.
Freeze, how many episodes of NordistaFreeze.tv have you banked so far? Like, how many do you have just like in the holster, ready to upload?
So this is number 11, and I've released 7. I started
A lot
on
of
the
apps.
I started on the 9th, and today's the 24th. So it's been 2 weeks
insane.
and a day, and we're on number 11. So
Wow.
yeah, it's just really fun for me. It's been a good way for me to get to just like check in on people and also help people promote stuff. And like, I don't know, I'm here for it. This has been really fun. So and one thing I'm hoping to do is this was my plan starting when I had my podcast idea, which was in high school, and I didn't do it except for one episode with Grant up and like then I quit, and now I'm back. the idea is to have people back on. So, next, if you guys ever have like a big announcement or you ever want to come back on and talk about more stuff, let's do it again. And
I would love to. I would love to get back on and talk about something that's not ourselves.
Yeah, man, that would be so awesome.
Well, this time y'all shared your story. Next time we can just talk about all the cool bands we like or something. But hopefully, and then 10 years later, we'll have just like all these like archives of us all talking and like following y'all's life, along the way. That's what I want to do. So
I love that, man.
We'll see. Yeah, man. Thank you for being a part of it, for real. I love you guys.
I'm thankful for you, Freeze. I love you very much.
I'm thankful for y'all. I guess peace out. Or wait, you should end the recording and then I'm gonna
end the recording. Let's just hope.
We'll see what happens.